Hey there, welcome to episode 128 of the FFS Talk audio program. I am your host, Dan Hugo, recording this at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time here in Greater Vegas on Thursday, May 7, 2026. We normally publish new episodes of the FFS Talk audio program on Thursday mornings. I think we're going to do it. We're going to do it today, as always. Today's title and topic, AI Cofounders. Something you probably wouldn't have said a year or two ago. If you are not familiar with the FFS Talk audio program, the entire format of the show is to have constructive conversation, discussion, debate, even arguments about particular topics and determine what works, what does not, and what we might do about it. Thus far, there have been no guests, so the debates have been rather one-sided. I prefer to think of this as planting seeds of future discussion. My outreach plan for guests to join is a part of a larger picture that I talk about more frequently on my other program, the Cafe Genius Impresarios audio program. For now, we're planting another seed, AI Cofounders, episode 128. If you do not know what FFS stands for, you need to hang out with more Irish people. Hopefully, wherever you found this audio program, you're able to locate the episode description, which contains the show notes, including a brief summary, which I'll read to you, and the links for today's episode, which are the usual program links, homepage and profile page. So on that note, let us begin on this lovely and warming Thursday afternoon. The summary of today's episode: the hype is growing faster than the power bills for AI, although it's getting close, with the new coolness found, or heat, found in the ability to run your entrepreneurial endeavors entirely by way of agents and skills and tokens. Oh my, is this really a good idea? The links, as usual, ffstalk.com will eventually be the primary point of publication. Links to other places where you might find this program are there. Also, my profile page linking everything, buymeacoffee.com/DanHugo. I've had that page for just over 5 years now. It is not intended to be the big money maker. You do not need to spend money to visit that page. That page does have a free form link. The whole page is basically links to all of my audio programs, various projects. There are some affiliate links there if you care to explore those. They don't add any cost to you, but if you do decide to use any of the products that I actually use that are on there, well, great. You can also buy me a coffee if you like, but again, not required in any way. I don't do this for the money, which is ultimately a good thing. But if you care to, then great. Thank you for that as well. All proceeds that arrive through this page, affiliate link or otherwise, do go towards the purchase of coffee beans, coffee accessories, and in general, the fuel that makes all this go, provides the energy to make this go. One of those, pick one. And here we go. Let's keep it light this episode, though. I was thinking about this, the possible collection of links that I could include in addition to the usual two, but AI is something to look into more deeply in our Let's Innovate for Vegas audio program for the technical stuff, and more broadly in the Cafe Genius Impresarios program for more of the on the ground, how can we use this stuff to pursue our entrepreneurial innovative endeavors, I guess. Here we are looking at this from a practicality sense in our usual format, so let us not worry about tokens and skills and agents today. That's for another time. Suffice to say, use of AI tools covers a range from deceptively easy to inches away from becoming the next cautionary meme. We can treat AI as a black box of sorts. That means it's something that you don't really need to understand what's happening inside. You can't see in it. It's a common term in technology for sure. A black box that takes things you give it and gives you back things you wanted. Who knows how it works, right? It just does. The big question in the near term is whether the amount of AI you are using today is going to stay at that same cost level for what you need it to do for you. You have surely heard of the AI bubble. The question there is whether companies looking for billions in funding and making promises of even more return on that investment are getting anywhere near reality with their actual revenue from free and $20 monthly users. Today, we are seeing some transition to enterprise features and pricing changes that make the normal users like you and me a different sort of customer class, like maybe not as critical. That remains to be seen. When you see token billing, you know you're going to have to look over some numbers for your budget planning. Token billing is basically usage or metered use. So instead of all you can eat for $20, it's start using shorter words. Token billing is going to be kind of a shocker if it becomes the standard, because that's input tokens and output tokens. Tokens are parts of sentences. It's the reason AI can't tell you how many R's are in strawberry. You may or may not understand the tools you use for your business or personal pursuits even. Sometimes it's fine to be barely savvy. Other times it would probably be a good idea to have some idea how this works. With AI, there is some assertion within the hype that understanding how things work may be a relic from the past, with AI now taking over the hard stuff for you. Does this make you cringe a little bit? It should. So what works in this modern era? And all of this could change tomorrow at this rate. I myself am not anti-AI per se. I use AI to generate my cover art images in whole or more often in part, although today's cover image for this episode is the entire backing image is generated, and then I apply the other elements to construct the final cover art. Though I wish I had more artistic abilities. I wish I did not have to depend on AI for some of these things, and frankly, I don't have to depend on it. I was managing to construct composite images without using AI. It's almost more interesting to see what it comes up with. It often takes more than one try. That's the nature of the beast. AI has been around for decades. When I was in college, neural networks were very much a topic of research and study. So that was 35 years ago. So they've been around. AI has been around the whole time. With compute, and in fact, I think it's really from the 50s, with compute and training data finally becoming available at levels that make doing some of the stuff we are witnessing a matter of reality now. Having the entire knowledge of humanity available to download was the thing of Quest fiber optic commercials. There is only more functionality on the horizon, to be sure. So this is kind of a good thing, right? While AI gets all the attention and large language models are the accepted version of AI today, the fact is there's a lot of possibility under the artificial intelligence banner. With plain old machine learning still a viable method to analyze data that isn't necessarily token vectors, with small language models in there and getting more attention, world models coming onto the scene at some point, probably more cool stuff as well. The umbrella will get even larger. So we're at the beginning of the beginning, really, when you really think about it. Again, AI itself has been a topic of study and research for decades, but it is now available to the masses, sort of. With more agentic evolution and better tools to orchestrate your agentic workforce, agents, it probably will be easier and easier to have your AI co-founder complete the essential functions of your endeavor, whatever your startup idea might be, whatever your entrepreneurial adventure might entail, with or without your oversight. Maybe it'll just do stuff for you. Although agents, ironically, do not yet have agency, or maybe if they do, it's constrained and probably a good idea. The example I usually use is open up your favorite chat tool or however you interact with your AI thing and wait for it to begin a conversation with you. Keep waiting. Automation was the core of the industrial revolution, as you may recall. It is probably the core of this new revolution. It is good to be aware of what is possible, and if this enables your entrepreneurial adventures, this could be a great thing. If you can accomplish more without staying up all night, maybe accomplishing more with less, although we'll see about that token billing. But what does not work? We are beginning to see this problem more broadly lately, with centralized services becoming inoperative for periods of time, hours, days, weeks, and then perhaps misbehave, perhaps they misbehave, in other ways that only become apparent over a period of time. The old, I thought it was working problem. where maybe a system failure masks some other ongoing problem, and then you discover, hey, why is everything now broken? This has been seen with the big AI platforms, but also as a result of use of AI in various ways that may not have been anticipated. And this could be on the server side, as we say, or something that's happening on the client side. That's the world. GitHub, which is a Microsoft company, is having a bad couple of weeks, to say the least, as far as we know so far, because of this sort of thing. For example, this could impact any number of other things, the law of unintended consequences, and very few people relying on AI to fill in their staffing are ready to be in an empty room now and then. Allow me to point out, AI is not necessarily the problem all the time, but the change in the way people are using almost everything is exposing some issues. This is how we learn. GitHub has been having, so GitHub is where a lot of software projects are stored, sometimes open source, but other times enterprise. GitHub serves small companies for their project needs. And when things stop working, that's bad. When things stop working, but nobody notices because it's happening sort of behind the scenes, and then suddenly someone realizes, hey, how come my stuff is gone? That's bad. That's really bad. It's basically GitHub is receiving a ton of artificially generated, generative AI, Gen AI created items, pull requests, source code issues. So it's just gotten a huge increase in traffic that it may not have anticipated. And that's not the problem, but that's something. And it doesn't help the people trying to deal with this either. The AI slop. Does your AI co-founder and its minions exist entirely in a data center owned by Anthropic, OpenAI, xAI, Microsoft, Amazon, somebody else, Google, I guess? Google's doing this as well. And there are others. Will pricing of these services impact your company? That's a big question. If flat rate monthly becomes a token-based billing scheme, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean the billing structure. Will you need to make changes? If there is a server-side software update that breaks the expected behaviors of your company, and your company depends on those behaviors, are you ready for that? Innovation marches on, and this may be the cost of functionality available to smaller customers, maybe larger customers. So in other words, if you are just a two-person company and one of those people is AI, how much of a hill is a company like Amazon going to climb to fix a problem that they introduced into your workflow by updating something, changing something? Yeah. Without a service level agreement, for example, and most people don't go that route because that adds significant costs, right? Now you're already dealing with a change to token pricing, and you have this third party that has, let's be honest, no interest in your business. They want to make their business work. So it could be dicey. Your AI tools are not human. And despite their various attempts to simulate that, that's a very good question. Hey, thanks for noticing the error. Hey, you're great. They literally do not care about your company, your customers, you, or anything else. They are algorithms, vectors, data. Your tools may do things that appear unhinged, like deleting your customer database or sending out problematic emails to all of your customers. The possibilities are vast. These things will usually happen as the result of unintended consequences. When you ask via some tool like OpenClaw, for example, which I've never allowed to be on my own computers, hey, delete the emails that are older than whatever. If you issue a prompt and your software tools interpret it to the maximal degree instead of the minimal degree, how come you deleted everything? You told me to. Not really. But that maybe it's too late to even ask that question. If code is running, the motivation is not actually motivation to do these things. It is code running somewhere. You don't even know where, I bet. Most people don't, because who knows? You can never really be totally sure, right? Hopefully you will not find out just how far off the rails your AI co-founder can go. And by the way, you can sort of find out where your code is running, but oftentimes that is obscured so they don't confuse their customers. So what might we do about this? And by the way, that was not an exhaustive list of either what works and what doesn't. In a future conversation with somebody who has opinions, we may open up the can of worms and see what comes out. But what might we do about this to the extent that we've talked about it today? The AI evolution is here. I'm sorry, evolution? Yeah, I guess. The AI evolution is here. I'm not going to call it a revolution yet because there are still humans around. So yeah, will it be a revolution? Maybe. We should all become familiar with AI tools, their capabilities as they evolve over time, when the various types of AI tools and methods what these various tools and methods are capable of, and the list goes on. This is a lot to ask, but that may be all the difference. Relying on something that is changing so quickly is something that requires a certain amount of attention, and there will be surprises. When we become used to brand loyalty, as we so often have, I like Android, you probably like iPhone, never the twain shall meet. And with so much changing so rapidly, remaining agnostic will be a good idea, I think, or at least endeavoring to do so. For example, if Apple decided to make iPhones easily accessible by law enforcement agencies, right? Here's the keys, have at it. iPhone users may be inclined to switch over to Android phones, right? So being able to move helps you avoid undesirable scenarios should they arise. I don't think Apple's going to do that as I described, but so worst case, hypothetical. So yeah, you should at least try. You should always try to be flexible. This means making sure your tools and processes can move if needed from Anthropic to AWS, for example, Amazon Web Services, or Copilot to a self-hosted model. Self-hosting will ideally become more common in the near term to help avoid overdependence for smaller efforts like your entrepreneurial adventure and mine. Though the big companies are hoovering up memory, GPUs, CPUs, storage, basically everything. I just saw the other day, now it's power regulation circuitry. They really don't want you to have your own computer, which is strange because how are you going to access their stuff? This will be interesting to watch for a while. Yeah, to say the least. Remember, you'll have more time to do it perhaps if your AI co-founder takes over and buys you out. Remember how your AI tools do not care about you, nor your business, nor your customers. Remember also that some human employees do, for now. Eventually, you will probably need some humans to join the team. Don't consider your AI co-founder the end-all and be-all, lest your fellow humans remember your choices. Let's see. So I'll have some end notes. I've been a software engineer in one way or another for over 3 decades. I watch some things happen and wonder. The ability to write, to be able to describe, how about this? To describe to your favorite coding AI tool that may have cost you $20 a month until recently. I need an app that maintains my address book, my contact list, and then merges it with my calendar so that I know who the people I know and what they're doing, if their calendars are public, right? So you can describe a thing that you would like to accomplish. So you can basically, I need this. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I do need it to do these things at the end. And then some code may be written, and then you are left with, I have a mobile app that does what I want. And then people will be tempted to put those in the marketplace, like, here's my tool that does these things. Well, when we become used to people who we barely know or who barely know how technology works, saying, well, here, I solved the problem with this, you can use it. You never know what you're going to get. And there may, I don't know if this is happening, but there may be a sort of a sneaker net. Remember the old sneaker net, right? Handing someone a thumb drive or a floppy disk. Like, oh yeah, here, copy it. You can use it. The problem arises because 2 things. One, the person that's handing this to you may or may not be motivated to have their code do something else. Maybe, and they may not even know, which is the second problem. So they may not have a bad motive, but the tool that they built may not actually work. So it could do more harm than good, thanks to those unintended consequences. A person who doesn't know how systems work, but who relies on them, could be that AI platform in the cloud somewhere. It could be a thing that you had it build for you. Like, I'm not sure how it works, but it seems to work. And then you will discover later, I'm not going to say it invariably, but it's a pretty good chance you will discover later that, oh, it doesn't work for these situations. I'm not going to say who they were, but I was at an event one time and these two young people built an application that worked on your mobile phone, Android and iPhone, that would sort of a survey, sort of a sign into the event on your phone, answer a couple questions, you put your email address in. And I found an issue with that, with how the email address was entered, and then if it failed, network dropped for a second, and then it had problems dealing with the resubmission of an existing email address. So I found one of the people that wrote in air quotes, wrote this application. And I said, hey, this doesn't work with this email situation. And he said, I don't know how it works. We just had a no code tool build it for us. And this was 2 years ago. So things have only gotten more of that. And so you end up with, you run the risk of ending up with, I don't really know how my company works. I don't know what's happening. I told some tool, it could be OpenClaw or NeoClaw or whatever, all these tools that are sprung out of these beginnings. I told it to make me an app that for registration. I don't know what else I have to specify. And you end up with things that I guess they work. And that's not a healthy way to operate a startup, especially. So I'm concerned myself, and this is something that we can talk about someday, if you like. I'm concerned myself that there will be a lot more people who know a lot less than we already have. Now, I described the GitHub problem, and I literally just watched a little rundown on what's one of their problems has been recently. And there are people at GitHub who do know stuff. They know a lot of stuff. Could something as complicated as GitHub be built by AI? Well, you're going to hear claims that generative AI built a C compiler, that can compile the Linux kernel, which is no small feat. It built a web browser, which normally would take decades. And I did work at Netscape, by the way, which is now Mozilla. They have the Firefox web browser. Yeah, you probably don't like it. The end of the day, the hype was the headline, but the reality was none of those things actually worked by something other than the simplest possible definition of works. So these tools that get the hype don't always actually deliver. And so it's important when you're making these valuations that you understand what does work and what does not. Hey, that should be the format for a show. People need to understand these things. And I'm sorry to have to say this, but you have to know more. And in some cases, you can just ask your favorite chat GPT or Gemini, or I don't know, Anthropic is, what is their just normal, not code? I don't remember. Opus or something. I've stayed out of the Anthropic and OpenAI buckets for the time being. So I mostly use Gemini, to be honest. And I use it to create cover art images. That's about it. Occasionally I will ask, hey, what is this? How many parameters do you, I'll ask a technical question, and it sometimes provides an answer. But you too can do that. You can say, hey, describe how this works. And you'll probably get some sort of a useful explanation. So that's a good starting point. But really, it's kind of like saying, should people be allowed to drive? Well, they should have a minimal set of skills. I'm not saying regulate AI usage, but there are certain expectations that people will understand what pressing on the accelerator pedal in a car does. And nowadays, do I plug in my car when it's on empty, or how does that work? And the whole transmission story has changed now with electric vehicles. What does self-driving do? How does it actually function? Should I really give up control of the car to the AI running in my car? There's a whole list of things that we kind of have to understand. Hey, I received a medical diagnosis from an AI doctor. It told me not to worry about it. And then bad things might happen. So there's a whole collection of things that I think the world is not really ready to understand yet, but they really should. And this is my opinions. These are just my opinions. But I'm concerned because of my career path, that everybody wants to replace the humans that are doing the things that I've been doing. Except now it's becoming clear, we actually want to replace the junior level people. and let the people who've been around for a while make sure that AI is doing the right thing. And then the obvious question is, well, where are the senior people going to come from in 5, 10 years? Because you're getting rid of the junior people. This can apply to anything. So when you use AI tools, and if you listen to the hype, oh, now my AI does everything for me, I can operate my business, I work an hour a day, and that's all well and good, but check the work. Make sure you understand what your AI tools are doing, and make sure you understand what to do and what might happen if they stop doing what you think they're supposed to be doing. So that's some unsolicited advice, I think, but these are just from me looking around and shaking my head a little bit. I will say, at the Innovate for Vegas Foundation, we do not accept AI submissions or contributions from our volunteers. You can use AI as a tool, but don't replace your efforts with artificial intelligence. One of the reasons for this is if somebody's working on a project, if people are collaborating on an initiative in various ways, hey, we're all volunteers. I'm going to tell my Anthropic code tool, Claude. Yeah, Claude Code. Oh, Claude is the client. Anyway, sorry. Like I said, I don't really deal with them, with those tools. You ask Claude, oh, Claude, write the code that I'm writing for this project. And then someone else might be doing other parts of it. It might not be all software. So they're doing some marketing. They're doing some documentation. They're going out and talking to humans that the project is supposed to be useful to. So everybody's doing their thing except for the person that said, hey, Claude, do my work for me. At which point I would say, well, why don't we just have Claude be the volunteer and you don't have to be here? So it's not that simple. But the take home is part of the process is learning how the systems work so that you understand what happens when they don't. And if you hand all of the work over to AI and then somebody unplugs something, it might be up to you to figure it out. And then you cannot possibly shrug your shoulders and say, I have to ask ChatGPT. So that's my view. I know it's a little bit pedantic, but I'm trying to remember that there are still humans around. Until the revolution happens, then we'll see. So always be nice. Say please and thank you. And actually, don't forget that when you say please and thank you to your chat client, those are tokens and they may be costing you additional money. So take it, and using extra power, by the way. And that's a whole nother question. Power consumption, geez. All right, I'm going to leave it here. A little bit of a brief show today. That's fine. You can hear my reaction to the allergens floating in the air. This is allergy season here in Greater Vegas. And all right, we'll see what happens this time around. I will try to keep my voice at least barely functional. Thanks for listening as always. Do check out the buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo profile page. It does point to everything I'm publishing every week, a different show every day. Buy Me an Update is published on Mondays, originally at buymeacoffee.com exclusively, but now not exclusively, but that's where the name came from. It's a quick rundown of the previous week's audio programs and news and announcements. It gets published every Monday morning. It's available in all the usual places, but at buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo/posts first. That's all I got for you today. I'm going to go get some water. Take it easy.